The glass in her hand trembled, but her voice didn't. In front of a silent restaurant, the billionaire's words dripped with arrogance until she spoke one sentence, and every person in the room forgot to breathe. The words fell like stones in the middle of the crowded dining room. "You people are all the same," the billionaire said, his voice cutting through the clink of silverware and quiet chatter. He didn't whisper. He wanted everyone to hear. Across from him, the young waitress stood frozen. Her brown eyes steadied despite the insult. She wore the plain black apron of the restaurant, a thin notepad in her hand. The smell of roasted garlic and fresh bread filled the air. Yet the taste of the moment was bitter. Her name was Maya Daniels. To the man before her, she was just as server, invisible, replaceable. But her quiet posture hid a history that none of the onlookers could imagine. Years earlier, Maya had been a nurse in a war zone. She had tended to injured soldiers under collapsing roofs, stitched wounds by candlelight when the power failed, and held strangers in her arms as they took their last breaths. She had worked for days without rest, her uniform stained with dust and hope. She knew the sound of fear, the weight of loss, and the quiet joy of saving just one more life. But tragedy had followed her home. A car accident had taken her husband, leaving her to raise her son alone. She took the waitressing job not because it was her dream, but because dreams could wait when a child needed to eat. Now, standing in the warm glow of the chandelier, she faced a man whose words were colder than the winter rain outside. The billionaire, Gregory Vance, was known for his wealth and power, and for never being told no. He waved his hand dismissively, as though her presence offended him. "Do you even understand the kind of people I have to deal with? You wouldn't." Last day, the room was silent except for the faint hum of the heater. Other diners shifted uncomfortably, their eyes darting anywhere but toward the scene. The staff behind the counter exchanged glances, but said nothing. Silence became the accomplice to disrespect. Maya's fingers tightened around her notepad, but her face remained calm. She remembered her training, when the wounded screamed and chaos filled the air. The first rule was to breathe. On the wall behind her hung a photograph the owner kept, a framed image of local heroes. Among them a younger Maya in her nurse's uniform, receiving a medal for bravery. Few noticed it. Vance hadn't. She inhaled slowly, then exhaled. One sentence rose to her lips, simple and steady, carrying the weight of every sacrifice she had ever made. "Sir," she said, "I have already served people worth far more than money." The words landed heavier than any shout. Chairs stopped, moving. Forks froze midair. Even Vance blinked, as if the air had shifted around him. His eyes flicked to the wall, then back to her, recognition dawning slowly. A man at the corner table stood. He was older, wearing a veteran's cap. "She saved my life," he said quietly, but in the stillness it carried across the room. Another diner stood, then another, until half the restaurant was on its feet, not yelling, not clapping, just standing in silent solidarity. Vance's shoulders sagged. For the first time that evening, he lowered his gaze. He muttered something that might have been an apology, But Maya didn't wait to hear it. She simply turned, served the next table with the same quiet grace, and let the moment speak for itself. Later, the story would spread, not because of who insulted her, but because of how she responded. Dignity, someone would write online, is speaking truth without raising your voice.